In this video, I'm going to teach you a very simple technique you can use right away to start lasting longer in bed. Hey guys, I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so that you can magnetize your ideal life. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell icon to stay notified when I release new videos. Grab my free ejaculation control guide through the link in the video description below. So I'm going to teach you super simple technique that you can use to last longer in bed and go longer without ejaculating during sex, or bypass ejaculation completely if you want. So before I get into the technique, I need to explain a bit of the context of this. So one of the most common causes of premature ejaculation for men is hypertension in the pelvic floor. Statistically, most men last about 5 minutes before ejaculating. It's not very long. And this is something that may be counterintuitive for a lot of you. You know, personally, I was first learning sexual kung fu. I was learning all these techniques to last longer during sex. And a lot of people, in fact, most people are teaching these pelvic floor tension-based practices. You know, you've probably heard, do Kegels, you know, squeeze your pelvic floor as tight as you can. Do that all day, right? Do that several times a day. And I was going crazy with this. And let me tell you, my pelvic floor got really, really strong, but really, really tight. This is the equivalent of going to the gym and doing only, bicep curls every day. Pretty soon, your biceps, they'll be strong, but they're going to be very tight. If you've never done, a counter exercise to balance that out, they're going to be very tight. Your range of motion is going to be very poor. So this is essentially what you're doing with your pelvic floor when you're only doing all of these Kegels. And again, it builds up this hypertension. And notice for yourself when you're having sex or you're self-stimulating yourself, whatever. Notice how when your penis is stimulated, do you contract your pelvic floor almost involuntarily in response to that? This is a sign of pelvic floor hypertension. You have this tension pattern, and this causes premature ejaculation because those muscles that you're squeezing your pelvic floor with, they are wired into the sympathetic nervous system. And ejaculation is a function of the sympathetic nervous system. This is the fight or flight response. And so by squeezing this pelvic floor, you're actually pushing yourself closer to the point of ejaculation. So the question is, why are most people telling you to squeeze your pelvic floor? Because it is possible to bypass ejaculation by squeezing the pelvic floor, right before the point of no return. But overall, that approach, again, it makes you reach this point of no return where you ejaculate quicker and causes all this tension in your genitals. And basically, it doesn't help you last longer during sex. It just makes you a lot more sensitive in your genitals, which you don't want if you're trying to last longer, right? So the remedy to this is the technique I'm going to be showing you that will help you to relax the pelvic floor. And this is what's called reverse Kegels. So again, a Kegel is a squeezing of the pelvic floor muscles. So it's like if you have to urinate, you're holding it back. Those are the muscles that you squeeze to do a Kegel. And there's actually several different muscle groups in the pelvic floor. Most people talk about the PC muscle, but there's the IC muscle, which is around the base of the penis. There's the BC muscle, which is in the perineum. And this is actually what most people are referring to when they say PC muscle is the BC muscle. And then there's the PC muscle itself, which is actually around the anus. So these three different muscle groups, but typically when you do a Kegel, you're engaging the BC muscle in the center. And by over strengthening this muscle, again, it just makes your penis a lot more sensitive during sex, and it actually makes your ejaculation response come a lot faster, right? So this exercise helps you to stretch out the pelvic floor and release some of that tension. So to do a reverse Kegel, there's a couple different ways to do it where we engage more of the front muscles of the pelvic floor and more of the back muscles. And I'll show you both methods. So the first one, to understand what we're doing, so it's like if you're urinating and you're trying to push it out faster, it's that push. So it's like the outward push in your pelvic floor. That's reverse Kegel basically. And you'll feel as you're doing that, there's almost this like stretching out. You'll feel that your pelvic floor is slightly expanding. You can even place your fingers, in your perineum area and feel that expansion. So the first method, you push more into the front area, and you do this by taking a deep breath into the belly, fill up the belly with your breath, and push down. Hold the breath, push the belly down, and feel that kind of push outward on the front area of the pelvic floor. So your belly will kind of stick out, and you push it down as you're holding your breath. Do that for about 5 to 10 seconds and then relax. Just notice how that feels. So you can do that for several repetitions. And then to do more of a rear reverse Kegel, again, take a deep breath and now pull in your abs and push like you're, just to be, blunt with it, like you're pushing out a poop, okay? Like you're having a bowel movement, you're pushing it out. So it's more of a rear engagement. So take a deep breath, you suck in your abs and you push out. And you feel that kind of outward push, and that's more towards the rear area of the pelvic floor. So those are two different methods of doing reverse Kegels. So you want to start practicing those every day, throughout the day. You don't have to spend a lot of time doing this. Just, you're driving to work, riding on the bus, walking around, just do a few reverse Kegels, do 10 reps. And that will start to stretch out your pelvic floor. So again, just to review the first one, you take a deep breath into the belly. Belly sticks out, push down. As you're holding the breath, you can also try pushing as you're exhaling or as you're inhaling. But I find it easiest to do as I'm holding my breath with this one. So you push down with that belly, feel that engage the pelvic floor outward. And then you just relax. The second one, I take a breath and push. Pull in the abs and push out like you're pushing out a poop. And I will often do this one as I'm exhaling. So there's the abdominal engagement. So that helps to push out those muscles in the pelvic floor. So again, these are the two methods of doing a Kegel basically. So you want to practice with them, get familiar with them, because now the method for lasting longer in bed, just doing those practices will help you to release this tension in the pelvic floor and eventually start lasting longer from that. But you can use these techniques directly during sex to avoid hitting that point of no return, the point of ejaculation. I recommend you practice this by yourself, doing self-stimulation, because it's a little bit easier to learn in that context. There's no external pressure. You don't have to worry about, performing for your partner, right? There's no pressure. You're just getting to know your own body. So stimulate yourself. Once you start to get to a higher level of arousal, or even before then, just experiment with pushing out the pelvic floor as you're stimulating. Experiment with the front push and the more of the rear push, right? Experiment with different strengths of push. Like I find if I push too hard of reverse Kegel, it almost causes this sort of counter force of tension in response to that. So I use sort of a relaxed, gentle pushing reverse Kegel and almost feeling like my pelvic floor is relaxing as I do that. So it feels like this expansion in the pelvic floor. So experiment with that as you're stimulating yourself, and eventually you can use this during sex. So as your arousal starts to build, you feel like you might start squeezing in response, push a reverse Kegel gently. You can coordinate it with your breath. So notice if it feels easier for you to do a reverse Kegel when you inhale, or if it's easier when you exhale. And you can start to alternate between doing the reverse Kegel and relaxing. For example, I like to push reverse Kegel as I exhale, relax as I inhale. So I inhale, relax, exhale, and push reverse Kegel. Inhale, relax. Exhale and push that reverse Kegel, a bit of an abdominal engagement as well. So you get in this rhythm of pushing out and relaxing, during sex or during self-stimulation. This gives your mind something to focus on and helps you to manage the arousal as it's building. And when you get good at this, it can really help you to last a lot longer during sex. So that's it, pretty simple, right? Again, practice this every day, work with it. It can take some time to learn it, but once you get it, it's gonna really help you last longer in bed and develop your ejaculation control, which every man should do. Ejaculation control is a skill. It's something that you develop by training. It doesn't necessarily come natural. So by doing this training, you're releasing all these old sexual habits of having a lot of tension and reaching an ejaculation very quickly. And now you're walking the path of sexual kung fu, of personal development and sexual mastery. Thank you for watching this video. I know this technique will help you a lot if you use it. Please subscribe to my channel, like this video. Let me know in the comments below, did this technique help you? Did it help you to last longer? I'd love to hear. Have a great day, my friends.